Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to this week's second episode, our international episode. If you happen to have not listened to the first episode this week, which I highly recommend you do before tuning into this, we do not have Jay this week. He's out of commission, he's on the injured list, he's out for the week, whatever you want to call it. It's just me and Miggy, and you guys are going to have to deal with that. This is usually Jay's segment, but
We get to hijack it.
so we're gonna start. We're gonna start a little easy. We're gonna start with rugby, which is my cover. So, European Rugby Champions Cup. They are on to their semifinals. There weren't any games played this past week. Their quarterfinals were played 2 weeks ago. So their semifinals are going to be Leinster Rugby against RC Toulon. That is going to be played on May 2nd. So that's still a couple weeks out. So these teams are getting good break between their bracket games. The other semi is going to be Union Bordeaux Bagels versus Bath Rugby. Bath Rugby. Maybe they'll give the Bengals a bath. I don't know. That game will be played May 3rd. So also a couple weeks away. The final for the European Rugby Champions Cup will be played on May 23rd. So we will keep you guys posted on that, but there's not a whole lot going on that league because they are nearing the end of their year. European Rugby Challenge Cup, which is kind of a cousin league to the European Rugby Champions Cup. They are also in their semis. Their semis are coming up. Their quarterfinals were also played the other week. It'll be Ulster Rugby against Exeter Chiefs, which will be May 2nd. And then it'll be the Montpellier Hérault Rugby versus Dragons RC, which will be played May 3rd. Their final will be played May 22nd, however. So if any of you have the means to watch the European Rugby Champions Cup and Challenge Cup, their finals will be played on back-to-back days, May 22nd and May 23rd. So do look out for that. Do look forward to that if you are a rugby enjoyer. Now, speaking of more rugby leagues, we have the Super Rugby Pacific League.
Hooah!
They had some games this past week, namely on Friday and Saturday. On Friday, we had the Blues against the Highlanders. The Blues get the 47-40 victory. High-scoring affair. The Waratahs, I hope I said that right, beat Moana 29-14. And I swear every time I see Team Moana, I just think of the movie. I can't help it. That's all I can see is Te Fiti and Maui. This past Saturday, we had the Chiefs against the Hurricanes. Chiefs win that 22-17. Brumbies versus Draw. Draw won 33-28. And then we had the Force versus the Crusaders. The Force win that 31-26. Upcoming week's schedule for Super Rugby Pacific. On Friday the 24th, we're going to have the Crusaders against the Waratahs, and the Hurricanes against the Brumbies. On Saturday the 25th, we're going to have the Blues playing against the Reds, the Highlanders against Moana, and Chiefs against Drua. Now, the current standings for the Super Rugby Pacific League, there are 11 teams. So you have the Chiefs in first place with 7 wins, 2 losses, 31 points. You have the Hurricanes with 6 wins, 2 losses, and 31 points. You have the Blues with 6 wins, 3 losses, and 29 points. Brumbies with 5 wins, 4 losses, and 25 points. The Reds with 5 wins, 3 losses, and 22 points. Crusaders coming in 6th with 4 wins, 5 losses, and 21 points. The Waratahs, I'm going to butcher it every single time, and I hope you guys are ready for that. They are 4 wins, 4 losses, 19 points. Drua with 4 wins, 5 losses, and 16 points. Highlanders are sitting with 6 wins, 3 losses, and 16 points. Force have 3 wins, 6 losses, and 14 points. And Pacifica sit at the bottom of the league with 1 win, 8 losses, and 4 points. Bit of a lopsided league. But that is it for the Super Rugby Pacific. Moving on to the ERBA Top 14, which I found out earlier today is an Argentina-based league.
Huh.
So finding information on them is a little tricky because none of those websites are translated to anything I can read. So it's a good thing that there are sources out there for that. So Urba top 14, they have played 5 weeks. So every team has played 5 games out of 26 total games.
So they play half the year.
We are 20% of the way through their season. So this past Saturday, and they play all of their games on the same day. And since there are 14 teams, they just play 7 games. So this past Saturday, Saturday the 18th, they had Alumni against Newman. Newman wins 32-30. They had La Planta versus Buenos Aires, which was Buenos Aires 25-23 victory. We had Atletico del Rosario against Casi, and Casi won that 36-31. We had Hindu against Belgrano. Hindu won that 39-22. We had Regatas Bella Vista against Cuba. Bella Vista won that 26-23. We had Los Matreros against Los Tilos. Los Tilos won that 32-23. And then we had Champagnat against SIC, SIC. They win 24-7. So since we are very early in the season, very, very early in the season, I'm not going to go through the standings for this league at the moment, but I will say right now that the way they do their, I guess you could say their playoff format or sort of their postseason format is the top 4 teams will go into a semifinal bracket and then onto a final, and the bottom 2 teams will get relegated.
Oh, okay.
So a lot to play for these teams going forward.
Yep.
That's it for our rugby leagues that are currently active. We spoke about Major League Rugby in our North American episodes, so if you want to catch that. But we do have a couple of rugby tournaments going on right now. We have 2. So we have the Pacific 4 Series, which is a rugby tournament involving Canada, New Zealand, USA, and Australia. This past week, we had Canada against New Zealand. New Zealand wins that 36-14, unfortunately. And we had USA against Australia. USA wins that 33-12.
You sure you're not reading that upside down?
I mean, even if I was and Australia scored 21, USA still wins with 33 points.
Damn.
Unfortunately for us Canadians. So this tournament is very early on. Each team has played 2 games. We are in week 2. The standings currently look as follows. New Zealand is in first place with 10 total points. They've won both their games with a plus 55 point differential. Canada is 1-1. They have 5 total points. They have a point differential of plus 2. USA is sitting in third place with a 1-1 record as well, sitting at 5 points. They have a point differential of negative 12.
And that's after winning 33-12.
Yes. They got stomped by New Zealand. If I go back in my notes, I can actually find that score for you guys just while I'm taking a look. I got so many pages of all this stuff. Let me see. Here it is. Here it is. So, the other week, New Zealand beat USA 48-15.
Okay, I can see the minus 12 now.
So that's where the minus 12 is. Canada is only in the plus because they beat Australia 24-0 the other week.
Yikes.
Which was an upset. I mean, I love my country. I really do. Our rugby teams are a little behind the curve at the moment. They're picking up, but they're a little behind the curve. And in fourth, going back to the standings, Australia 0-2. Minus 45 point differential.
Yikes.
So maybe Australia just doesn't have a good team, which is shocking to me. Irregardless, next week's matchups for the Pacific 4 Series tournament. I'm going to say this backwards just because I like the second game a little bit more. New Zealand versus Australia is going to happen April 25th. But the day before, on April 24th, if you guys have done your math, that leaves only 2 teams that could play against each other. Canada, US face off against each other on April 24th, which is this coming Friday. So I hope that we will have a happy report for you guys next week of a Team Canada victory.
Oh, we will.
I will make it happy. If they lose, I will fudge the numbers. And the second tournament that we have going on is the Women's Six Nations Cup. So the 6 teams playing in that are Scotland, England, Wales, France, Ireland, Italy. The games that happened this past week were not close. None of them were close. The closest one, I think, was France versus Wales, if I'm doing my math right. France beat Wales, and this is the closest one, 38-7. That was the closest game from this past week. The second closest, Ireland versus Italy. Ireland wins 57-20.
Yikes.
Oh, no, I don't think you're ready for this final score, Miggy.
Oh, boy.
I wasn't ready for it. England versus Scotland. I think England has something to prove, or somebody did something to their cereal, or they have a dozen chips on their shoulder. I don't know what it is. I don't know what possesses a rugby team to go out and win a game 84-7.
What?
The England women's rugby squad goes out and absolutely rolls over Scotland 84-7. Just BTA.
Damn.
No remorse. Again, I don't know if somebody said something behind somebody's back, or if England just decided, hey, we the best team, and we're going to show you that we the best team. Speaking of them being the best team, the current standings for the Six Nations Cup.
Let me guess, England's number 1.
England is number 1 with a point differential of plus 98. Majority of that is from last week's game against Scotland.
Yeah.
They are sitting at the top with a point difference of 98 and 10 points. They've won both games. France has won both games. They have a point difference of 64 points, and they have 10 points in the standings. Third place, we have Ireland with a point differential of plus 16. They have 5 points in the standings. They are 1-1. Scotland, despite the blowout that they just endured, are also 1-1 with a point differential of negative 72 and 4 points in the standings. And then holding up the rear, we have Wales in 5th with a point difference of minus 36, which is half the point difference of Scotland in the negatives, who sit above them, funny enough. Wales has lost both their games. They have standings points of 1. Italy, 1 point in the standings as well. They have a point difference of negative 70.
That's rough.
So that does it for our rugby updates for this week. I did not expect blowouts like that.
Those were intense.
But that does it for rugby. Miggy, I'll give it off to you.
Speaking about blowouts, I got 1 or 2 here too as we go through the scores of last week in the IPL, which is the Indian Premier League, which is cricket. This is usually Jay's thing, so I will try my best to
not screw it up.
So Tuesday, April 14th, the Super Kings faced the Knight Raiders. The Super Kings batted first. They had 192 runs on 5 wickets in 20 overs. The Knight Raiders chased but couldn't quite make it with 160 with 7 wickets in 20 overs. On Wednesday, there was a very closely contested but not really game.
What do you mean by that? It was close, but it wasn't?
The Super Giants batted first and did 146 on 10 wickets.
Okay.
And then the Challengers Benjumla, and sorry if I butchered that, I probably did, but whatever, did 149 runs on 5 wickets in 15 overs.
Okay, so they matched the score, and they had 5 overs remaining.
Yes.
Okay. So the scores were technically close.
But not.
But no.
Yeah.
It was only close because they were chasing.
Yeah. And then on Thursday, the Indians played the Kings. The Indians batted first. They did 195 runs over 6 wickets in their 20 overs. Meanwhile, the Kings chased and managed to pull 198 runs in 3 wickets in 16 overs.
So 7 wickets and 4 overs to play with. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's solid.
Even for a guy who, like me, that doesn't know wicket, knows that that's decent numbers.
You know, Miggy, I'm gonna be honest. It's kind of unfair that I gave the cricket to you, since I sort of half know what's going on. But you're doing a good job. Keep going.
Okay, I got a lot of notes to help me out here. The Night Raiders played again on Friday against the Guanajuato Titans.
Just go with Titans.
We're gonna go with just Titans. So, the Night Raiders batted first. They hit 180 in 10 wickets in 20 overs. The Titans chased it and succeeded with 181 over 5 wickets and 19.4 overs.
Oh, so really close.
Yes.
They reached the target score with 2 balls left. I think that would mean.
So, very tight game. Came down to the wire. On Saturday, there was 2 games. So, the first one was the Capitals versus the Challengers. I'm not going to try to say the other word again because I completely butchered it. So, we're going to keep it with the Royal Challengers.
Yeah, go for that.
The Challengers batted first at a 175 runs in 8 wickets in 20 overs. The Capitals chased and, again, tight game, 179, 4 wickets in 19.5 overs.
Even tighter. 1 ball left.
Yeah. And then the second game was the Sunrisers versus the Super Kings. The Sunrisers hit first with a 194 over 9 wickets in 20 overs. But the Super Kings could not chase it all the way with a 184 over 8 wickets and 20 overs. So they got to 10 runs, but they just couldn't.
They got close. They just ran out of time.
Yeah. Now, Sunday, 2 games again. So the Royals played against the Night Raiders. The Night Raiders had a really busy week. Royals batted first, got a 155 with 9 wickets and 20 overs. And the Night Raiders brought it back to a 161 over 9 wickets and 19.4 overs. So there's a lot of tightly contested games this week, if I understand cricket somewhat right.
Yeah. No, you're doing great there, Miggy.
Here's the blowout.
Oh, yes, you did warn me about this.
The Punjab Kings batted first against the Super Giants. 254 runs, 7 wickets, and 20 overs.
That's a very good score.
Now, the Giants did put up a good game, though, of 200 runs and 5 wickets in 20 overs. So I feel like any other day of the week, they win that game.
I mean, you look back on all the other scores that you've been talking about. I mean,
and those are the only 2 scores that are in the 200s.
Yeah.
So they just got the Kings on their go or go home mode, and from there it was nonstop.
One of the very few times where you'll score 200 and not win.
Yeah. Monday, April 20th, the Indians played the Titans. Indians went first. They went 199 with 5 wickets and 20 overs. The Titans went 100 with 10 wickets and 15.5 overs.
So they managed half the score and were thrown out.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. See, that's more of a blowout.
I told you there was gonna be
you don't even finish your 20 overs.
And Tuesday, was, I think, another blowout. I'm not too sure, but I'm going to judge by your reaction.
Hit me with the numbers. Hit me with the numbers. Come
on.
The
Sunrisers played the Capitals. The Sunrisers hit a 242 runs.
Okay.
2 wickets.
Wow. Okay.
And 20 overs.
Yeah.
And the Capitals chased, but obviously did not make that. They made 195 with 9 wickets and 20 overs.
I mean, that's another case of 195 gets you the win almost any other day, but you ran into 244.
Yeah.
So
the league has reached kind of a close to midway. They're supposed to play 14 games each.
Mm-hmm.
They're all at 6 or 7, so we're basically at the halfway mark. The standings show as of now is the Kings with 11 points, the Chargers with 8, the Sunrisers with 8, Royals with 8, the Capitals with 6, the Titans with 6, Indians, Sun Kings, and Super Giants all at 4, and then the Night Raiders at 3. The Kings seem to have a pretty comfy spot at first right now.
I mean, first midway through the season is a nice place to be.
Yeah. The games coming up are the Super Giants versus the Royals. The Indians and the Super Kings will be playing each other on Thursday. On Friday, the Challengers will be playing the Titans. Saturday would be the Capitals versus the Kings. As well as the Royals versus the Sunrisers will be playing on Saturday. Sunday, you have 2 games as well. You have the Sun Kings versus the Titans, as well as the Super Giants versus the Night Raiders. That's a bottom of the basement matchup, the Super Giants and the Night Raiders. They're 9th and 10th. Monday, you have the Capitals versus the Challengers. And Tuesday, you have the Royals that plays the Kings. I hope I did not do Jay wrong here.
I mean, scores are scores, numbers are numbers. Before you keep going, though, because I think I forgot to do this, I'm just backtrack a little bit to the Women's Six Nations tournament. The upcoming matches for the week are all going to be played on April 25th. It's going to be France against Ireland, Italy against Scotland, and the next victim of the freight train that is England is going to be Wales.
Yikes.
It'll be England versus Wales. So,
yeah, that's gonna be a fun time. Now, I'm gonna switch my I's and my E's in French with the EPL.
Listening to you try to tell me which league that you were talking about, between the EPL and the IPL was fun.
So this is week 33 of 38.
Okay, so nearly done.
Yeah, we're nearly getting down to the nitty gritty. More about seeding and people who are getting relegated kind of know who are getting relegated, and people who are getting promoted kind of deal. All that pizzazz. So, Saturday, April 18th, Brentford and Fulham tied at 0. Leeds and Wolves, Leeds won 3-0. Newcastle lost to Bournemouth 2-1. Spurs and Brighton tied at 2. Chelsea lost to Man United 1-0. On Sunday, we had a total of 4 games. Aston Villa won 4-3 against Sunderland. Everton lost 1-2 against Liverpool. And Nottingham Forest won 4-1 against Burnley. Man City won 2-1 against Arsenal as well. Monday, April 20th. Crystal Palace and West Ham tied. Now there is a game going on today. Is Brighton versus Chelsea. On the 22nd, it's Bournemouth versus Leeds, as well as Burnley versus Man City is playing. Friday the 24th, Sunderland versus Nottingham Forest. On Saturday the 25th, you got Fulham versus Aston Villa, Liverpool versus Crystal Palace, West Ham versus Everton, Wolves versus the Spurs, and Arsenal versus Newcastle. And to end the week off, on Sunday, April 26th, we have Man United versus Brentford. The standing shows is Arsenal is on the top with 70 points. Man City has 67. Man United has 58, and so does Aston Villa. Liverpool has 55. Chelsea, Brentford, and Bournemouth all have 48, as well as Brighton and Everton having 47. Sunderland has 46. Fulham has 45. Crystal Palace has 43. Newcastle has 42. Leeds has 39. Nottingham Forest has 36. West Ham has 33. Spurs at 31. Burnley at 20. And Wolves at 17. So the middle of the pack is very tight.
But then you get to the outer edges, and it's very
The
very
top five,
split.
but the difference between the 5th and the 6th is 13. But then the difference between 12th and 17th is 13 as well.
Oh.
So big numbers and everything, but
Tight middle of the pack. That's the big
right
takeaway
now,
here.
Spurs, Burnley, and Wolves are facing relegation. Now, if we go to the other league, so the Champions League, we're kind of going into the semifinals here. So Tuesday, April 28th is PSG versus FC Bayern at 1. And then Wednesday, April 29th is Atletico Madrid versus Arsenal at 1. So that whoever wins that is facing each other.
Yeah. On to the conclusion of that league.
Yeah, that's basically it. Now I do have some motorsports.
Ooh, the vroom vroom.
Vroom, vroom. Anyways, MotoGP does have a route on the 24th to the 26th in Spain. Qualifying number 1 starts on Saturday at 2:50 in the morning. This is our time.
Oh, yeah.
Qualifying number 2 starts at 3:15.
Yeah. So our time is Central Time. So
Yes.
these times are not friendly to anybody here in the Western Hemisphere.
And then the Grand Prix is on Sunday at 6 in the morning, our time.
I'm just gonna hit record on that program and watch it later in the day if I can.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be up. Actually, I won't be up because that's my day off.
Exactly.
NASCAR, we have 2 events this weekend. So on April 25th, there's the NASCAR Cup Series qualifier at 10:30 Eastern Time in the morning. At 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we have the AG Pro 300. So that's one of the bigger races. And then at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, we have the Jack Links 500, which is on April 26th. And that is the NASCAR Cup Series. For F1, we have a race after 2 got canceled, discontinued, whatever you want to use, on Sunday, May 3rd at 2 p.m. in Miami International Autodrome. I have one more thing to cover, and that is the double IHF. Before I send you to suffer the fate of Chris.
Yeah, me talking about league.
So the IFL for women that just showed up was Division 1 Group A. So it kind of determined who was going into the Grand Champion that is in November. France versus Slovakia was the final. France crawls their way to the top 3-1 to make it into the double IHF Women's Championship that starts in November. Now, on the downside, China did horribly. They scored once and got scored on like 30 times. Don't actually quote me on the 30 times. I know the 1 is right. I didn't calculate the actual numbers.
Feels like they got scored on 30 times.
They get relegated to the 2027 World Cup Championship Division 1 Group B.
Okay.
So there's that. In the upcoming tournaments for men, you got the 2026 double IHF World Championship D1 Division B or Group B. That is April 29th to the 5th of May. You also have the double IHF World Championship D1 Group A that runs from the 2nd to the 8th of May. And now this is the important one that I know me and you are going to watch probably some of it.
Well, I mean, yeah, Canada's playing in it.
Yeah. Through the 15th to the 31st, the double IHF Men's World Championship will be playing.
Is that 15th of May?
Yes.
Okay.
So with all of that, and then later on this year, I would like to watch the women's one, but they're in November for some reason.
That's quite a scheduling difference between the two tournaments. So I'm not sure what that whole story is, but at least we've got dates.
Yeah. So now, with that being said,
I will hopefully honor Jay and crash out a little bit about League. Because that's
I don't know if you can match that.
Yeah, I don't know if I can match that, but I can sure try because some of these scores from this past week are funny, to say the least.
Oh boy.
So I'll start off for League of Legends. I'll start off with the LCK, so we're in Korea. We had FearX against Nongshim. My Noodle Boys were playing. Nongshim wins this 2-0. We had DK versus KT. KT Rolster is still on a tear. They win it 2-1. We had Bro versus Genji. Genji won that 2-0 as they should. We had DNS, the Supers against HLE. HLE won that 2-0 as they should. FearX beat KRX, or previously known as DRX, 2-0. And here's where it gets a little weird. DK beats T1 2-1. HLE beats Gen G 2-0. And then going on, we have KT beating the Supers 2-0. Nongshim beat Bro 2-1. And then T1 beat DRX 2-0. So some weird games here in the middle of T1 losing to DK and Gen G losing to HLE.
Just a bad slip up?
I don't know. I'm gonna read off the standings here. It makes it sound even weirder. So T1 and Gen G are supposed to be top of league.
Yeah, every time I hear you guys talking about it, they're always at the top.
Yeah, they're supposed to be the whatever and O, the whatever and one team. You know, it's like those two, and the only difference is like one of them's gonna lose to the other one. That's it. The standings are KT Rolster at 6-0, HLE at 5-1, Nongshim at 4-2. Nongshim's been a bottom feeder for years, so them being at 4-2 and third in the league is interesting. Then we have a three-way tie for fourth place between Gen G, DK, and T1, all sitting at 3-3. We have a two-way tie for seventh between FearX and DRX, sitting at 2-4. And down in the bottom, we have a two-way tie for the ninth seed between Bro and the DN Supers at 1-5. So it's almost like we took the top teams from earlier this year or sort of past years and just shoved them into the middle. Like some of the bottom teams sitting at the top, some of the middle teams sitting at the top. Most of the bottom and middle teams sitting where they're supposed to. But the top teams just are not where they're supposed to be.
Interesting.
And the thing is that they're 6 games into their season. So it's not that this was like a 1 week or 2 week fluke. This has been consistently happening. So I'm not sure if, I mean, T1 is they're kind of on the downswing, sort of they've had a bunch of roster changes in recent years, and their crutch, their anchor faker, he's getting old and near retirement. So I'm not sure if this is kind of just a sign of things to come for T1, which Jay's going to be really sad about because that's his team. Gen G, on the other hand, they're supposed to be the best. They are supposed to be the best, and they haven't shown that. KT is probably the biggest surprise because they made it super far in Worlds when they shouldn't have. They've been playing very well this year at 6-0. So they're the surprise so far, and the roller coaster just keeps on going. Moving on to the LPL, that is the league based in China. We had up against TT. TT wins that 2-0. We had IG against Weibo. Weibo wins that 2-1. We had WE against AL. AL wins that 2-0. We had Top Esports against BLG. Top Esports pulls out the victory at 2-0. TT beats OMG 2-1. NIP beats JDG 2-0. BLG beats IG 2-1. JDG beats Weibo 2-1. Top Esports beats IG 2-0. And BLG beats AL 2-0.
For the people at home, I don't think you understand how much confusion was in Chris's face when he said all of this stuff.
It's like I've seen all these abbreviations before. I've been watching League long enough, but the LPL, some of the teams, I'm just like, I don't think I've seen these before, even though I'm pretty sure I have. No, the reason I made a face is because I think there's a really weird line of teams here of like, remember last week how Jay was going off about the fact that,
he won against him, but he won against him, and he lost against him, but he won against him.
And it was kind of a circle. I almost thought that something was going on here, but no, it's just the fact that IG got beat 2-1 twice.
Okay.
I thought it was like Weibo beat IG, and then IG beat BLG, and then BLG beat... I thought it was going to be another one of those things. No, IG just... They just lost twice. Unfortunately, it's not something quite as interesting as that. Now, the standings, however, for the LPL are a little weird. So they're doing what the LCK did earlier this year, where they've kind of split the league in two. They kind of have their upper bracket teams and their lower bracket teams, which is a very nice way of saying, here's the half of the league that's our best teams, and we're going to have them play against each other, and here's the half of the league that's the worst teams, and we're going to have them play against each other.
It makes it more competitive.
It's supposed to.
Yeah.
But it's really weird when it's like your best teams and your worst teams, and then you take like the winners of those two groups and then make them play against each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right? So it's like you're taking the best teams and you're just putting them against the best losers.
I would put them like the bottom four, bottom two, the best against the top two of the worst.
Right.
To see if they move up or move down.
You'd think it's something like that, but, I don't know how the LPL necessarily is doing it and why they're splitting it up like this, but regardless, it's split between the Ascend group, which is their better group, their upper group, and the Nirvana group, which is sort of their lower group. Now, in the Ascend group, the top teams are BLG and Top Esports. They are both sitting at a record of 5-1.
Okay.
The top team of the Nirvana group is TT with a record of 2-0. So it seems that the lower bracket hasn't played nearly as much games as the upper bracket, which I'm not quite sure why the case is. But then again, we'll see with the LEC, which I'll move on right now. It seems that scheduling has not been a forte of some of the leagues as of this year. So the LEC is the European league, is the European-based league. So our games this past week were Navi against GX. Navi won 2-1. We had SK against G2. G2 wins that 2-0. We had Vitality against GX. Vitality wins 2-0. We had MKOI against TH. MKOI wins that 2-0. We had G2 against Shifters. G2 wins that 2-0. And then SK against Carmine Corp. Carmine Corp won that 2-0. So the standings are very weird because we have teams that have played a very wide variety of games. Like at the top, the top teams in the league are currently only the top teams because they have the most wins.
Okay.
Like quote unquote most wins.
Yep.
They don't have the best save percentage. The top team right now, I'd have to look it up who it is, but they're sitting at like 5-1, which isn't a bad record. But then in third place, you have Carmine Corp at 3-0. They've played half the amount of games as the top team in the LAC.
And they're tailing them.
Yeah, and they're tailing them, even though they have a perfect record right now. So we kind of mentioned this last week about this weird, I don't know if it's like scheduling conflicts or they just didn't plan for it, but something's weird. Okay, so I have the standings here. So it's Vitality sitting at 6-1 in first place.
Okay.
Navi in second place at 4-1, and then Carmine Corp in third place at 3-0. So win percentage wise, KC should be in first. Now, looking at the standings right now, most of the other teams have played 7, 5, 6 games, 5, 4. There's a team in here, SK, they've played 8 games. They're 2-6. Shifters have played 4 games. They're 0-4.
So the game scheduling is just inconsistent.
It's all over the place. You have a team here who's played 8 games. Most of your teams have played between 4 and 6, and then you have a team that's played 3 games, like 3 matchups. So something is going wrong with the scheduling. I don't know if there's players are out with like personal leave or something and they're trying to work around that, but we'll have to see in the coming weeks because Casey especially has a lot of games to catch up on.
Yep.
And the final region that we're going to go over for League of Legends is the LCS. That's the North American League for League of Legends. This past week, we only had 4 matchups. We had C9 against Disguised. C9 wins that 2-0. We had FlyQuest against Sentinels. Sentinels actually win that 2-1, although FlyQuest has been struggling this year. We had Shopify Rebellion against Lions. Lions wins that 2-0. And then we had Team Liquid against Dignitas. Team Liquid wins that 2-1. The standings are looking as follows. We have C9 and Team Liquid both sitting at the top with records of 3-0. We have Lions sitting in third with a record of 2-1. We have a 4-way tie for fourth between Disguised, Shopify Rebellion, Sentinels, and FlyQuest, all sitting at records of 1-2. So not quite the record you want to be sitting at a tie with other teams with. And then way at the bottom, we have Dignitas sitting at 0-3.
Hey, it looks like everybody played 3 games.
At least the scheduling is right. At least the scheduling is right. Well, it's been a bit of a shorter episode this week, which does kind of suck for us. We do like our sports, and we do like talking, but it's not a lot that happened this past week.
Yeah, it was a pretty quiet week for sports, and I feel like next week there'll be something to talk about.
Oh, well, I mean, this coming weekend we've got a bunch of semifinal matchups for different leagues. We've got a few big weekends, and hopefully that gives us some content for you guys. But in the meantime, we do want to remind you that while the NBA and NHL playoffs are going on, me and Miggy are going to be giving you guys more consistent and more frequent updates on that, and we do have those as separate series and playlists. So do check those out if you want to keep up with that. But I think for tonight, the mic's gonna turn off.
Yeah, let's go.